Hey y'all, Taker here, and welcome back to my channel. Today we have yet another massive figure haul. Now, you can infer from my selection that I definitely do have a type, and that would be Chunibyo. Very big Chuni energy over here. Now, next up, I have my personal favorite Fate Grand Order servant, say Shounagon. Now, I was really back and forth on this pre-order, mostly because I didn't want to be that guy who pre-ordered Fate Grand Order figures only for them to drop in the aftermarket, but I really did fall in love with her design. She is definitely one of my favorite characters in terms of character design in Fate Grand Order, and her artist, who also designed Colgate-chan, Alir from Fire Emblem Engage, is responsible for Sei's design as well. So far, I am really happy with what I'm seeing, and Fat Company, I would say they usually do a pretty good job, though it can be hit or miss. Yeah, she has a really colorful base. I'm not sure if you can see this right here, but this is a absolutely it's very artsy. I can't really remember what kind of historical figure Sei was in Fate Grand Order, but I believe she was a novelist. Though I can't quite remember, and there is just so much information to remember from Fate Grand Order, so I can't be expected to remember all of it. Now, this figure is so impressive. I love the attention to detail. Now, Sei Shounagon is a pretty difficult character to paint because she has, as you can see, multicolored hair, a lot of colors going on in her character design, a lot of little details here and there. Her hair looks amazing. It's very well painted. They got all the tones correct. They added just a tiny bit of translucency for a little bit of a pop. Now, the face sculpt is very impressive. I love the eye decals. Her face has just so much animation going on with her winking and smiling. And moving on through the rest of her outfit, we got the schoolgirl uniform, really gonky of her, or is it Genki? I don't know. I need to work on my Japanese buzzwords, but it is absolutely adorable. Finished with that bow in the middle, a really nice color of red. Makes it pop with all the blacks and blues that are going on in this figure. Now we move on to our favorite Chunibyo from NIKKE, Guillotine. Or at least my favorite. And I played the NIKKE for roughly a year before quitting, and although she wasn't the best character, she was still one of my favorite S ranks from NIKKE, just because of her eccentric personality. Even though she was one of my favorite characters from NIKKE, I still hesitated a lot on keeping my pre-order for her, just because she has the misfortune of being handled by Furyu and its F-Nex line. And that's just because F-Nex is very hit or miss when it comes to figure quality. I've noticed that some of the paint jobs were not so great, or the sculpting looked weird. It just didn't look like a premium figure like they promised. So and they've more often than not have heavily been discounted on the aftermarket, or at least on the official AmiAmi website. So yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. So hopefully she came out really good. Also, another thing is Guillotine is one of the few NIKKE figures I still had on pre-order. I had a lot more NIKKE figures that I was gonna pre-order, but I just kind of fell out of love with NIKKE. And I feel like I was pre-ordering a lot of figures out of the hype over NIKKE versus actually wanting the figures. The machine gun is actually quite heavy, so at least for the joints of this figure, so she does need some assistance with holding it. Yeah, it is a little scary because the hand comes out, but it's really close to her dress, so I'm a little scared of paint transfer. I mean, it is black on black, but scratching is still something I fear quite a bit. No, my expectations for this figure weren't that high, being an Furyu scale figure and with their history of scale figures, but I really do like this figure. They really did capture Guillotine's design very, very well. Like, I really do love her facial expression, where she looks a bit more sinister. I really do love how she has her eyes sort of squinted with a very devious smile. Very, very good face sculpt. I don't really feel like her hair is nearly as glossy as it should be. It's very dull. Her hair just looks really washed out compared to her promotional pictures. Not a great thing to see. It kind of reminds me of the hair texture and color of a prize figure, which feels horrible to say. It feels horrible to say, especially because she is a premium figure. FNX is a premium figure figure line. Like coming from, say, Shounagon, where Fat Company went above and beyond with her hair sculpt, this definitely shows me the difference between Fat Company and Furyu. And it's just a shame. It's just an absolute shame. I might be over exaggerating, but especially at her price range, where she's over 20,000 yen. I'm happy to add her to my collection. I just feel like she could be a lot better, but it is what it is. And now finally, we have the final figure of the day. Now, I've been anticipating this figure for a long time, and that is Fischl from Genshin Impact. There is one point there, I understand that Fischl is a 4-star character, so she's not super rare from what I've heard from my friends who still play that game. However, I started playing Genshin Impact to play as Fischl. From day one, she was like my favorite character. I am obsessed with Chuny style characters. So her edgy look and the fact that she has a raven familiar and her gothic Lolita dress style had me from the get-go. However, when I first got the Primo Gems to start pulling, I didn't get her. And I was a lot more impatient with Genshin. I wasn't interested in playing a game that played like Breath of the Wild. So I played for the first hour, I got my free pulls, and then I quit. I understand that Fischl was a free character for people to get throughout the game's lifespan, but I just wasn't interested in Genshin. Genshin just seemed like a lot of grinding that I didn't feel like doing. But I really do like, and I shouldn't say I like all the character designs. I think the only design I liked out of Genshin was Fischl. I wasn't on that that Raiden train or some of the other characters that came out. I don't know. Genshin just didn't appeal to me. I didn't really feel like a lot of the character designs had that pop that F-Go had. So, yeah, Genshin did not... Oop, I am missing something. Genshin did not grab me as a player. Alter once again knocked it out of the park with this figure. She is yet another very detailed Alter masterpiece. Which I would say, but there are a couple niggles here and there that bother me, but don't really ruin the figure. It's just that I may have had my expectations may have been a little high in places. But I digress. First up is the hair sculpt. The hair sculpt is very, very good. Compared to Guillotine's, whose hair looks very dull, this hair looks a lot more vibrant. We have some shading, although not a ton of shading, but just enough to really capture that really highlight blonde colorway that she has. Her hair color and how it looks is what I would have expected for Guillotine, which is a shame, but I'm glad that Alter did capture that blonde hair properly with Fischl. I really do believe this one captures the Chuni energy. It's just so dramatic. It's very, very dramatic posing, and it speaks to me. But I am very happy that Alter did put the alternate bust. I just don't think I'll ever personally use it. I'll definitely show it in the video to just show off how it looks all put together. But I definitely feel like the face sculpt looks better on the first bust. The second bust I feel looks a little too goofy for my taste. But I'm sure someone else will love the second bust and will be very happy that it's included with Alter's packaging. This design is what really sold me on Fischl. I just really love that gothic Lolita style. But it's not like stereotypically black. We have a lot of purples, dark purples, light purples. Like, it's just very purple, which is one of my favorite colors. I'm not sure if I'm going to collect any more Genshin figures after this, though, mostly because the only character I cared about was Fischl. But if you had any doubts about Fischl and her quality, I can assure you you'll be very happy with what you receive. And with that, that's all the figures I had to unbox today. If you liked what you saw, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. See ya!